I spent years, probably too many years, chasing personal growth the hard way. You know the drill, the relentless hustle, the soul-crushing grind, the sheer force of will trying to ram my way to some elusive better life. I was convinced that if I just did more, pushed harder and optimized every single second, fulfillment would magically appear. My mornings were a ritual of forced productivity. I'd wake up before the sun, chug some lukewarm water, dive into a cold shower that felt less invigorating and more like self-flagellation, and then meticulously plan a day packed so tight it barely had room for breathing. My calendar was a masterpiece of color coding, each hue representing a different facet of my supposed self-improvement. My bookshelves groaned under the weight of self-help bestsellers, each promising the secret to unlocking my full potential. I'd devour them, highlight passages, and implement every single tactic, from gratitude journaling to power posing. Yet by the time I collapsed into bed each night, I felt less like a burgeoning success story, and more like a phone on 2% battery, technically alive, sure, but utterly completely useless. Sound familiar? That gnawing feeling that despite all the effort you're just empty? Then, one particularly unremarkable Tuesday, everything cracked. It wasn't a lightning bolt moment or a grand epiphany on a mountaintop. Nope, I was in the office at 9:17 p.m. The fluorescent lights humming a dreary tune, eating cold, congealed takeout over a spreadsheet that refused to balance. My brain felt like static. That's when Sarah, a sweet coworker from accounting, poked her head in. She didn't say much, just a soft, "You okay? You look gray." And in that moment, something inside me just broke. I opened my mouth to offer some dismissive, "Oh, I'm fine, just tired." But what came out instead was a messy, embarrassing torrent of tears. Not the cute, cinematic kind with a single glistening tear rolling artfully down a cheek. No, these were ugly, gasping, snot bubble tears that left me heaving. The kind that makes you question all your life choices. In that raw, utterly undignified moment, I realized the hustle gospel I'd been preaching to myself, the one that told me to just keep pushing, keep doing, keep striving, was bankrupt, completely and utterly. More tactics weren't the answer. A new lens, a different way of seeing the world was, so I did the only thing left for a completely exhausted, snot-faced human. I surrendered. And let me be clear, this wasn't quitting. Quitting feels like giving up, admitting defeat. Surrender, on the other hand, felt like a profound act of courage. It was an intentional release. I stopped treating life like a brutal battlefield, a constant war to be won, and started treating it like a nuanced, ongoing conversation. Instead of bulldozing through people and problems to reach some imagined finish line, I began to pause. I started carving out 10 quiet minutes each morning, not to plan my attack, but to simply ask myself, what's actually meaningful today? What truly matters right now? I replaced the relentless, exhausting grind with something far more nourishing, grounding. Instead of seeing everyone as competition or obstacles, I started noticing the actual humans in front of me, their stories, their struggles, their smiles. And something truly wild happened. Growth stopped feeling like a Herculean task, like lifting impossibly heavy bricks, and started feeling like a natural, organic process, like growing deep, resilient roots. My personal transformation, the one that truly changed my resilience, my self-awareness, and my relationships, wasn't about doing more. It was about seeing everything differently. Here are the 3 perspective shifts that didn't just change things for me, they changed everything. Shift 1. Surrender isn't weakness, it's strategic. For the longest time, I equated anything spiritual with being passive, weak, or just fluffy. I thought surrender meant giving up control, letting things happen to you. Nope, not even close. Think about it this way. Picture a seasoned sailor. They don't try to fight the wind or force their boat against a raging current. That would be insane, right? Instead, they adjust the sail, they trim the rigging, they understand the power of the ocean, and they work with it. That, my friends, is surrender with intention. It's an active, intelligent choice to align yourself with a bigger current, to trust that there are forces at play beyond your immediate control. When I finally stopped micromanaging every single outcome, when I loosened my white-knuckle grip on how things should go, it was like the universe exhaled. Opportunities, the kind I used to stress myself into a frenzy trying to manufacture, started showing up like the tide lifting a boat. They weren't forced, they simply arrived. This isn't about being lazy, it's about being incredibly smart with your energy. It's about recognizing that true strength often lies in adaptability and flow, not brute force. This kind of surrender, this intentional alignment, builds incredible inner strength and adaptability, allowing you to navigate life's inevitable challenges with far more grace and flexibility. It's a foundational aspect of resilience, a quiet confidence that you can bend without breaking. And the physical benefits, oh, they were profound. My stress-induced migraines, which had been a constant throbbing companion for years, were down by a staggering 80%. My sleep? It became deep enough to dream in full, vivid color, not just the usual anxious replay of my day. This isn't magic, it's the direct result of reducing the chronic stress that had been wreaking havoc on my nervous system. When you're not constantly fighting every battle, your body can finally relax, repair, and recharge. This shift helped regulate my emotional responses, lowering my anxiety and stress levels significantly. My brain, no longer in constant fight-or-flight mode, could actually think clearly and creatively. Before my ugly cry epiphany, I honestly thought self-awareness was something you chased on a week-long yoga retreat in Bali once a year, or maybe during an expensive therapy session. Valuable, sure, but not something you actually. Now, I get that it's a daily, non-negotiable practice. It's the quiet, consistent work of observing yourself, your thoughts, your feelings, and your reactions. Every single evening before my head hits the pillow, I do a simple 3-minute audit. It's not a diary entry or anything, just a quick bullet point jot on my phone. I ask myself 3 questions. First, what energized me today? What moments, interactions, or tasks made me feel alive and vibrant? Second, what drained me? What felt like pulling teeth, left me depleted, or maybe sparked some irritation? And third, where did I act on autopilot? Where did I react without thinking, say something I didn't mean, or just go through the motions? Over months, these seemingly insignificant micro-reflections began to draw an incredibly precise map of my authentic wiring. It showed me my triggers, my true passions, my energy leaks, and my innate strengths. It was way cheaper than years of therapy and honestly twice as revealing because it was data, my lived experience observed by. This consistent self-reflection became a powerful tool for self-discovery and authenticity, helping me align my goals with my deepest desires. The more honestly I saw myself, the less I craved external validation, the less I needed applause from others. Confidence stopped being something I sought outside myself. It became an inside job, a quiet knowing that emerged from genuinely understanding who I was and what I truly needed. It fostered an inner peace and emotional stability that, honestly, no amount of external achievement could ever provide. Shift 3: meaningful relationships are spiritual technology. Okay, this one might sound a little out there, but hear me out. For way too long, I saw relationships as either transactional or, honestly, just a nice to have. Then, I stumbled upon some research that really changed my perspective. Researchers at Harvard, in one of the longest-running studies on adult development, found that people who maintained warm, meaningful relationships throughout their lives actually lived longer and happier. And, other studies, especially those looking at faith or spiritual communities, have shown that individuals in these groups live up to a third longer, mostly because of the profound social support and sense of belonging they provide. So, this isn't just about feeling good, it's about actual, measurable longevity and well-being. That's not just a social benefit, it's spiritual technology. It's about interconnectedness, about the deep human need to belong and to contribute. I decided to try out this spiritual technology in my own life. I joined a local meditation circle, not because I suddenly became enlightened, but because I craved connection. I started greeting my neighbors by name. Not just a quick nod, but a genuine, "How are you, Mark?" or "Lovely day, Susan." And within weeks, I wasn't just living in a house, I was part of a neighborhood. I had a safety net woven of humans. Not just hashtags on social media. This wasn't some abstract concept anymore. It became incredibly tangible. When my dad had unexpected surgery, those soft connections, the people I'd invested in simply by being present and open, sprang into action. They dropped off meals, filled our freezer, offered rides, and sent countless comforting messages. Productivity, all that hustling and grinding, couldn't do that. It couldn't provide that warmth, that tangible support, that feeling of being held when life got tough. These relationships fostered a sense of community, enriching my social life and creating an environment where collective growth and shared resilience could actually happen. It's honestly a powerful antidote to isolation, and yeah, it fosters a deep sense of purpose. Let's get practical: your micro acts of growth. Okay, so I know what you might be thinking. This sounds great, but I don't have time for a full spiritual overhaul. I don't have incense, beads, or a mountain cave, and you really don't need any of that. This isn't about adding another thing to your already overflowing to-do list. It's about a tiny, almost imperceptible shift that, honestly, changes everything. Try this, starting tomorrow, before you even unlock your phone, before you check emails or scroll through social media. Just take 1 minute, just 60 seconds. And ask yourself, what's one small act that makes today feel on purpose? What's one micro act that aligns with my deeper self, even just a little? Then do it. Maybe it's sending a genuine text of appreciation to a friend who's been on your mind. Maybe it's 5 deep, conscious breaths before that meeting you're dreading. Perhaps it's stepping outside for 2 minutes to feel the sun on your face, or taking an extra moment to truly taste your coffee. These aren't grand gestures, they're micro acts. But here's the magic. These tiny moments recalibrate your nervous system. They pull you out of the reactive, stressed-out loop and into a more present, intentional state. They actually compound into macro change, little by little, day by day, creating a new default setting for your emotional and mental well-being. This daily presence cultivates self-awareness, compassion, and emotional balance, acting as a powerful stress reducer and emotional regulator. Still skeptical? Good. So was I. I worried, truly I did. I thought that if I dialed down the grind, if I stopped pushing so hard, my freelance business would tank. I imagined my income plummeting, my clients abandoning me, my carefully constructed career just crumbling. My deepest fear was that this spiritual stuff was just a euphemism for being lazy and unproductive. But guess what actually happened? When I started operating from a place of peace instead of panic, when I approached my work with intention and presence rather than frantic energy, something remarkable occurred. My quarterly revenue actually rose by a cool 22%. Why? Because when I was less stressed, I was more creative. My communication with clients became clearer, more confident, and honestly more empathetic. They trusted me faster. Collaborations flowed with an ease I'd never experienced before. Creative solutions to complex problems seemed to just appear on tap, instead of feeling like I was painstakingly chiseling them out of rock. It turns out that spirituality isn't a productivity killer. It's a productivity multiplier. When your mind is clear, your energy is focused, and your relationships are strong, you simply work smarter, not just harder. This holistic approach, integrating mental, emotional, and social well-being, naturally leads to better outcomes across all areas of life, enhancing focus and problem-solving abilities. The invitation. A smarter operating system. If you're feeling that quiet tug, that subtle whisper to quit the grind and burn loop you've been stuck in, honor it. It's not a sign of weakness or laziness, it's an invitation. You're being invited into a smarter, more sustainable operating system for your life. It's about trading force for flow, replacing the overwhelming noise with clarifying nuance, and exchanging the relentless hustle for a profound sense of wholeness. The ultimate hack isn't another morning routine stacked on your already bloated to-do list. It's not about adding more. It's a simple yet profound tilt of the lens that turns everyday moments into powerful training grounds for resilience, self-awareness, and genuine connection. It's a pathway to unlocking your full potential, not through endless striving, but through intentional being. So, I dare you, experiment this week, just for 7 days. Surrender one outcome, pick something you're currently white-knuckling, and consciously release your grip on how it has to turn out. Trust the process. Observe yourself without judgment. Notice your thoughts, your reactions, your energy levels. Just observe, without labeling anything as good or bad. Invest in one real conversation. Put down your phone, make eye contact, and truly listen to someone. Notice how much lighter growth feels when you stop trying to climb impossible walls and instead start opening doors. Your future, ungray self will absolutely thank you. If any of this resonated with you, if you felt that little spark of recognition, drop a comment below and tell me which shift you're testing first. I read every single story, and your insight might just be the lighthouse someone else needs to navigate their own journey. And hey, if you want more real talk on merging spiritual sanity with modern life, subscribe and catch you in the next one.